Coming up on this week's episode,
I realized I joined a team that was a supernaturally natural and naturally supernatural. I really saw scripture coming alive, the life of Christ coming alive.
hello and welcome to the Transformation Podcast with Metamorphic. My name's Jordan and I'll be your host as we interview team members and special guests to be inspired and empowered to bring transformation wherever we are. You can head to our website metamorphic.global for more resources and opportunities to bring transformation around the world. Welcome to the Metamorphic Zone, where we laugh at the impossible and then do it. Hello and welcome to the Transformation Podcast with Metamorphic. Today I have a special guest from Uganda. His name's Patrick. Patrick, can you give me a little introduction and tell us what you do at Metamorphic?
Yes, I live in Uganda. I'm the programs director, Metamorphic. I organize programs. We organize programs. These have got to do with mobilizing pastors, identifying pastors with the gift of church planting, and taking them through a 2-year course. And as a result, like to see great churches coming out of them, transformational churches, because our mandate is to see churches cover up the whole world, cover up the whole region. And so my role and our role is to see that comes to pass.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing to be doing. Can you tell us how you got connected with Metamorphic in the first place?
I got connected to Metamorphic through my local church, which was a gateway, which was an entry point of Metamorphic in Uganda. And so that's where I was a minister. And so I got the privilege of being an interpreter on a voluntary basis. And so ever since I connected to Metamorphic, I've never gone back again.
So you went from interpreter and then you ended up in the team. Now you're running programs.
Now I'm running programs. Now I'm full-time. I'm a member. I'm a staff. I am a Metamorphic family.
How did things change for you when you went from church minister to working with Metamorphic?
Yes, things really changed a lot because Metamorphic formed me up professional. Metamorphic molded me in a more defined way. I was from the other side. Now I'm very defined. There's been a lot of grounding, a lot of mentorship, a lot of training. Now I understand what I'm doing.
So let's take a big step back. Let's go back to the beginning of your walk with Jesus. How did that happen? What's the story there? How did you get to know Jesus?
Yeah, I got to know Jesus in my HSC, that is high school. Before I was a Catholic, I was an altar boy. I loved God. I loved my religion. But gradually, having had the gospel over time, I felt a conviction that I need to convert to Christianity in a born-again sense. And when I changed school, right from my old level, in my HSC, I changed school where born-again Christianity was very much to play. And it exposed me to Christ. And from there onwards, I was about 18 years. I've never turned.
Amazing. So 18 years, do you have any particular moments in those times that really stand out to you as moments that shifted your walk with God, as moments that really grew your faith?
Yep, and my conversion, my one of my cousins took me to church, and when took me to church, I was still a Catholic, and there was a prophecy that came upon my life that I'm going to serve the Lord greatly, that I need to come to Christ because He needs me. And that stuck to my heart. And so I gave my life to Christ. And gradually I've seen the Lord putting that into play. As I went to the university, I was doing education. The Lord told me clearly that He is going to sustain me, He's going to use me, and I need to give myself over into ministry. and that's about 20 years back. And ever since I had that. That's the first time I had an audible voice. I've never had an audible voice again. I've seen the Lord sustaining me all the way as I've been serving. I should say that that was a turning point in my life when I had that voice. I don't know how God has done it, but through the process of time, I've seen the Lord sustaining me, even up to now when He connected me to Metamorphic, which I joined 8 years back.
And we're about transformation at Metamorphic. So what transformation have you seen in your life since joining the team?
Since joining the team, the first transformation, a complete change of heart, has been gradually taking place in my life. First and foremost, when I joined Metamorphic, I realized I joined a team that was supernaturally natural and naturally supernatural. I really saw Scripture coming alive, the life of Christ coming alive. And before that, there was a lot of struggle within me. But when I joined Metamorphic and the team, I really saw like the way Jesus moved with His disciples on earth. And that's how my life was. I saw this life really so true, so real. Before that, I was like, how possible it was. I was saved, but it was almost like religion still. But in Metamorphic, I came to taste of the life. And inwardly, there was a lot of change, confidence. I got confident. I got my esteem went high. I found the joy of ministry, the joy of relationship, and even actually Metamorphic helped me in my ministry in the local church as well.
Is there a particular thing that we teach at Metamorphic which has had an impact on your life more than the other things?
Yes, there's budgets, and I've come to love budgets a lot. But even before that, mathematics was a challenge throughout school. And when I came to Metamorphic and the courses and the teachings, one of the things that threatened me most, that I dreaded most, was the budgets. But since it was a challenge to me, I began giving myself over to these budgets, the principles and the criteria. And eventually, when I was told to teach budgets, I saw, because of I said, I will never, this thing will never beat me again. Let me give myself over. When I told my mentors, Martin, like, that is the best I've ever seen of you in terms of expounding, in terms of teaching. And I was also amazed. And I loved from there onwards, I've never turned back on budget, and then putting budgets in practice, and also the students, seeing students getting the coins really brings out of refreshment.
I know church planters I've spoken to in Uganda as well, actually, I've heard multiple times that one of the things that really stood out to them was budgeting, because it has such an impact on the way they do things, the way they do things within church, the way they do things within business. And obviously it just helps them to steward their resources a lot better. It's interesting to me to see that that's such a significant part of our teaching. Going from there, do you have any stories that you can share with me of the impact that Metamorphic has had in Uganda, in Africa?
Yeah, recently I've been in Eastern Uganda. There was one of our students whom we were with 6 years back, actually 7 years back. It's called Sanyu. English was a challenge to him. Since I was the interpreter, I took him on, and I would always sit with him, break down things, and it was hard to understand him being an introvert. It was hard to get him, but you could hardly know that something was going on the inside of him, because expressing himself is quite a challenge, but he's somebody who puts in practice. So on giving out loans, um, they were almost, he wasn't given a loan, but they said, if you second him, let us give him a loan. And we gave him a loan. What's amazing, the people who grasp the concept so fast in their mind failed to pay their loans, but this gentleman followed through and paid the loans. But then recently when I was there, I saw what this man has done on the ground. The business, his house, the church, community outreach, that really touched my heart, and I was really blessed by the way this man carries himself, and not so what his sheep, the people, the flock, because I was training his people, were training his people that he had brought in later church. So they were like, what you're telling us, we've been seeing it demonstrated in the life of our pastor. And then we are happy that you have come. Now it makes much more meaning when we hear you teach, because our pastor has been telling us this, do this, and then demonstrate it. But now the way you have expounded it makes a lot of meaning. We promise you that this metamorphic is not going to be, we're not going to be the same. This place is not going to be the same. So it has touched me a lot. So we were there about 3 months back in the eastern region of the country.
Can you give me a short explanation of what Meta Church is and how you've seen it working where you are in Uganda?
Meta Church is more of faithful students who have gone through the training, that is the 2-year course, and they have passed out, and they have been faithful all the way. They have come for the training throughout the 2-year course, and we've seen them over time that they can be entrusted with for this school, such that they can also conduct the trainings back in their home, in their regions where they stay. They can mobilize their own church planters, and then they take them through the 2-year course. The very things that they learn, that they get their own disciples as we come alongside them. And so that is Meta Church, and it has really brought about great dividends, because they learn in their own language, they learn in their own way, they learn in their own time, and everything is broken down in accordance to that region, their understanding. And so that is Meta Church. And there's a lot of church planting. Many churches have come out.
It's amazing that the ones who've already planted churches get to now train others and see others do the same thing in their communities.
And actually, it's such a great blessing to see that they can also carry out the programs, and they get amazed that they can do what we've been doing to them. And it's just amazing that it's a self-discovery, because quite a number of them have a gift of planting, have a apostolic gift, and a vision of having many churches coming out of them, but then it's quite vague. But Metamorphic breaks it down, and they realize their vision, their dreams coming to pass, and it's just amazing.
It's so good. I know our mission statement is to empower people to have freedom within boundaries, and Meta Church is doing that in an incredible way. So to finish up today, Patrick, talking of empowerment, do you have anything that you'd like to tell the listeners about transformation? Just one thing that they can take away if they want to see transformation in their lives and the lives around them. What would you tell them?
Just like Romans 2 says that, don't be conformed to the standards of this world, but be ye transformed. The only way to succeed in salvation, in God, in this life that God has given us on this world, is to embrace transformation. Because there is no way you shall get God's kind of success unless we change the old mindset, we embrace the new, because that is transformation. Because the Lord cannot just give us what He has, the success and everything the way we have to change from the old, just like a pillar changes form, and let's go of all the old and embraces the new ideas, new mindset, new habits in accordance to God's word, in accordance to God's will. Shall we embrace? I should say transformation is the gateway to Christian success.
That's great. Thank you so much, Patrick, for being on the podcast today.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Transformation Podcast with Metamorphic. Make sure to head to our website, metamorphic.global, where you'll find resources to empower you, as well as opportunities through partnership to bring transformation to the world. Follow us on social media. All the links will be down below in the show notes. Thank you for listening.